I've been looking up at these mountains and thinking of the day that I'd be able to get my skis up there. There's just something elegant about skiing the highest mountains in Colorado, especially to do it sustainably.
Mountaineering in these places that people's perception of them has made them hard to get to, that's the magic.
I've spent years chasing moments like this. I love the way the cold air feels on my lungs, the slow but methodical joy of the skin track, the peace the mountains hold.
Not a bad way to start your day.
It's a magical feeling to be up high enough to see the sun first. But as the years go on, it's become harder to justify these adventures, leaving me to reflect, how did I get here?
The greenhouse effect, caused by rising levels of carbon dioxide. Researchers warn that increasing CO2 emissions are accelerating global warming, leading to earlier snowmelts and shrinking snowpacks. The snow is disappearing. The mountains are crying for change. Is anyone listening?
So this is the book that started it all, from Chris Davenport. He skied every single Colorado 14er in a year. And I just remember being so inspired from this book as a kid. Like, what a cool idea, skiing the highest peaks in Colorado. I've been lucky, really lucky. Skiing has been a huge part of my life. My parents put me on skis nearly the day I could walk, and ski school became part of almost every winter as a kid. I'd watched ski films with my dad, mesmerized by the way people turn their time in the mountains into something creative and lasting. When cameras entered my life, it was only natural that they come with me to the mountains. This seasonal hobby became a weekend passion, which became a profession in making art with the mountains. I still feel so fortunate to be able to say, I love what I do. There's just something magical about the forces of the mountain and the snow just coming together perfectly.
And so I was thinking about sustainability in our ski community. It causes us to do a lot of introspective reflection that can be really uncomfortable on both ends.
I mean, this was taken in the spring, but you can already see the snow levels dropping. And this was almost 20 years ago. But also, like, who am I to complain? I mean, because there are real people downstream from these mountains that rely on this snow for access to water. And here I am complaining about not getting powder days.
20 years ago, the ski movies I grew up on were defined by helicopters, snowmobiles, globetrotting to exotic locations, all carbon-intensive pursuits with little thought for sustainability. Now, as I step into this industry, it's disheartening to see many of those practices are still in use. I have second-guessed working in the ski industry. It feels so selfish to play in the mountains as much as I do. But as my parents always taught me, just try and navigate it as best you can.
This doesn't look too bad.
So I began to wonder, what if I made a ski film that challenged the norm? A project focused on finding ways to ski sustainably. So the thought came up, why don't I ski 14ers as a way to learn to ski more sustainably? I think there are two sides to the sustainability coin.
Sustainability from a risk perspective,
Not dying in an avalanche,
and sustainability from, are we going to have snow to ski on?
reducing carbon emissions and toxic chemicals and all the other things that are in the news.
It's the idea that we don't take away from the places that really give us so much.
The plan was to ski only local mountains, these 14ers in Colorado, in my own backyard, and do it human-powered. I'm not taking carbon costly trips to Europe and Patagonia. And crucially, I'm not trying to ski all the 14ers. I'm trying to ski a few and rely on EVs whenever possible, cutting carbon emissions, and making calculated risk decisions to learn to ski some of Colorado's highest peaks sustainably.
Colorado is unique in that it has the worst snowpack of any place in the world that's commonly skied by large groups of people. It's rare to be able to push it like you see in the ski movies, because that is a totally different snowpack climate. That is a maritime snowpack climate that doesn't have, traditionally, the old snow problem that kills about 95% of the people in Colorado.
The idea was that if I could ski these incredibly difficult 14ers sustainably, I could ski any mountain sustainably. So for 2 day trips, one to Quandary and one to Bierstadt, it was about 330 miles of driving. And so just running a few quick calculations and making a bunch of assumptions and not including any of the gear or food that we used. If we had done that in a combustion vehicle, it would have been about 98 kilograms of CO2, assuming 30 miles per gallon. In the electric vehicle, assuming 50% renewables, it was 22 kilograms of CO2.
But the annoying part about trying to ski sustainably is that if I stay home, I emit 0 kilograms.
I wish it was my generation that got to enjoy the golden age of gas-powered adventures in the mountains. But instead, I'd find myself stripping away every unsustainable habit I can, yet still wondering if it's enough.
This is the reality of climate change. A race against time.
It's not my fault we have a climate crisis, but here I am trying to help fix it.
So when we're talking about 100 to 200 years out into the future from now, if we're continuing on the path that we've been on, then I think that the ski industry is going to change dramatically. I think it's really fascinating to think about how the snow is going to change in the future, how it will impact society across a broad swath of areas, whether that's the ski industry or snowpack and water supply.
Our whole skiing in the winter is pretty carbon intensive. I think it's quite possible that skiing as we know it just is only available in much smaller parts of the world.
A fight to do what we can before it's too late.
It's annoying to think that even with every eco-conscious decision, my choices are more sustainable if I hang up my skis and stay in bed all day. Not to mention, it's safer. Is that really the reality of our world?
I've experienced changes in snowpack conditions that are consistent with data that I analyze. It's just not quite as cold in the middle of winter as it used to be. And I've seen that just in my own recreating.
The whole point of sustainability is to keep the mountains the same. I can only dream that the next generation will have the same opportunities I do. But it's a strange idea because the mountains are always in change. My friend Connor Ryan had just been a part of one of these changes, the renaming of Mount Evans to Mount Blue Sky. I think change makes a lot of people uncomfortable. Climate change is certainly getting me worried. I wanted to learn more about this name change, so Connor, our friend Napashni, and I set out to ski the mountain.
Mount Blue Sky named after the Arapaho, who were called the Blue Sky people. What better way to celebrate than to ski?
John Evans was a big part of the Sand Creek Massacre, where a lot of Arapaho and Cheyenne were massacred. And impactful for me to come up here and be like, yeah, in your face, it's not yours anymore.
And as you can see, on a day like today, blue skies all around the sky, the mountain. They're celebrating with us. The people who have always lived in Colorado, the indigenous people have always been under this blue sky. But now this blue sky is something that we all share. And I think that's just representative of this land in Colorado. And so to change it to that, I think liberates all of us as people who live in Colorado, even indigenous people, but skiers as well.
I think a lot of people need to understand is that it's not just a victory for us, you know? It's powerful for everyone involved. It doesn't matter what color your skin is.
You know, for much of the summer, you can drive to the top of this mountain. It's the most accessible 14er, you know, for people of all different ability levels. I think that's an important thing. But at a time like this, to be here when no one else is here, for Napashni and I to be here when probably no other native folks have skied it since this mountain has had its name changed. And to be up with the mountain and the energy and the personality of this mountain while no one else is here and get to have this very intimate relationship with it, for me is a huge payoff for the work that I've put in.
I've officially broken 14,000 feet. And the views do not disappoint. Wow.
People will come out and they will see these tracks and they'll make assumptions about who might have left those tracks. And I think probably one of the last things that would cross their mind is that it's Native Americans coming out here, leaving these ski tracks to celebrate being on top of a mountain that they changed the name of. Like, that's a whole story that's never been told in the world of skiing before. And that's just really exciting to like get to have that moment of telling that story through leaving your tracks behind, because it's tangible. It's like you wrote it right there on the mountain, but you wrote it, you painted it, you told it with your skis.
You ready?
Ready.
Let's get it.
And so then to be like, yeah, we skied Mount Blue Sky. You take an extra pride in that. But I think for all of us, like, it just sounds beautiful. It sounds like a beautiful place to connect with right now. Mount Blue Sky. Like, it just feels good to say that. It's good medicine to share that with people.
Also knowing that there's opportunity for change. Like, this is gonna melt, it's all gonna go away. Our tracks are gonna be gone. Same thing as Evans. Evans is gone. It's not here anymore. It's Mount Blue Sky.
Yeah, being able to go back to a place and have it be better than it was is such an important thing. Like, if you're skiing it, you should be preserving it.
In focusing so hard on trying to cut carbon emissions and not die in an avalanche, somewhere along the line, I'd forgotten to appreciate how beautiful it is that I get to ski on mountains like this. Celebrating Mount Blue Sky with Connor and Napashni was a reminder that even with its challenges, skiing can be a force for good. A force to rewrite a mountain's history, fight for climate justice, or just try and preserve the simple joy of sliding on sticks. Sustainability will never be perfect, but as I've learned skiing 14ers, every time I click into my bindings is a chance to stand for what I believe in, as both an artist and an athlete.
Good morning.
So, how did I get here? I'm here finding sustainability, one step after another.
We all have blind spots. The definition of a blind spot is I need someone to point it out to me. And the question is, how receptive am I to that feedback?
It's it's really just about changing that idea of what is difficult. Is it just difficult because it's an investment of time and effort?
I think I got here too early. I gotta wait for the snow to warm up so that I'm not skiing ice the whole way. I think that's as far as I'm gonna ski today.
If we bring too much shame upon ourselves for some of the problems that we have in terms of our carbon footprint, that shame can lead to giving up on solutions.
That dog in full view right here.
I don't know what my future holds, but I think it's exciting to think that I can continue to further my own sustainability with skis strapped to my feet.
So yeah, a little bit of a change plan here.
So as long as I can keep asking, what do you want to ski next? I think I'm headed in the right direction.
Oh yeah. Top of Torrey's.
I